The information, opinions, and statements expressed by guests on this program are solely those of the guest and do not necessarily reflect the views of the host, Check-A-Pro, this station, its management, affiliates, sponsors, or advertisers. This program is intended for general informational and educational purposes only. Results may vary.
For over 150 years, educated investors have profited from investing in government auction real estate at public tax defaulted property auction, usually called tax deed auctions. Most gurus suggest that tax deed investing is an easy way to get rich, but they do not tell you about the costly mistakes to avoid. Ted Thomas changes all of that. Hi, I'm Jim Clouk. My guest, Ted Thomas. He's taught this for more than 30 years, and he wrote a plain English book called Your Startup Guide to Investing in Tax Lien Certificates and Tax Deeds. Today, he'll mail it to you free. I'll give you the number in a few minutes, so keep a pencil handy. Ted, welcome to the program. And before we start, promise my listeners one thing. Today, you'll tell them what can go wrong, not just what can go right.
Jim, that's a promise. Results vary, and anybody that tells you different isn't really realistic. So I'll tell you both sides of the story.
Ted, good. That's why you're here.
First, let's get into the name of the tax lien certificates. I actually call them government revenue certificates, and you'll see why in just a couple of minutes.
All right, Ted, we're at your kitchen table. Start at the beginning. What exactly is a tax lien certificate?
Every county in the United States gets their income from property taxes. The money pays for the police department, the firefighters, the schools, and the school teachers, fix the roads, and pay all the county employees. I didn't make the rules, but the state legislature in the state makes the rules, but that's how the county gets all their money in on a daily basis and pay the bills.
So the county can't skip collecting property taxes and must follow the rules.
You're exactly right. The county has to collect those property taxes, and every single year they do that because the firefighters want to get paid every 2 weeks, just like the rest of us.
Ted, what happens when a property owner doesn't pay property taxes?
Well, it happens all the time in every county across the United States. That's caused by people get sick, death in the family, people move away, divorce, all kinds of things happen that people don't pay their taxes. And when they don't, the government has a problem. They're not collecting those property taxes. So the county, if you didn't pay, or I didn't pay my property tax, they're going to try to find someone else to do it for you. And then they're going to send you the bill for doing all that. They don't call them government revenue certificates. They call them government tax lien certificates. And that's how they get the bills paid. And that's what they sell. They sell a tax lien certificate.
That's the whole intention?
Yeah, exactly. They sell those in every county in about half of the states across the United States. They've been doing this for 200 years. Anybody can buy a tax certificate. You'd have to pay the amount, and then you'll start earning interest on your money.
So, Ted, what you're telling me is a stranger is paying someone else's tax bill. Why on earth would an investor pay their neighbor's tax bill?
You're going to get a big reward if you pay someone else's tax bill. You're going to earn the interest. When you pay your MasterCharge or Visa card late, they say, oh, well, you have to pay interest on that money. It's the same thing with taxes. If you pay them late, you have to pay a penalty. You pay an interest rate. Each one of the states has their own interest rate, but they charge interest. Instead of that local county keeping the interest, they let you earn that interest. People want to buy these certificates because they pay outrageous interest rates.
Those outrageous interest rates go to the new investor?
You're the new investor, that's what you get. Places pay 16%, other states allow 18%, all the way up to 24%. I don't set those rates. The legislature of the state, this is a government administered and run program. The legislature does all that, but the county enforces all that. So you get your tax bill from the treasurer of the county, and that's who you have to pay. But the interest rate, they're not going to keep the interest. They're going to pass that interest on to you because you did them a favor and paid someone else's taxes.
Hold on, Ted. 16, 18, 24% interest? Most savings accounts pay me almost nothing.
That's right. This system is set up so that local people can make local money and get local checks from their counties. I didn't set the rate, so I want to make sure our listeners understand that. The numbers are written into the state law, and then the state law is passed down to the local county. And when the county sells a tax certificate, They don't give you a guarantee, but have it mandated in the law that when that person comes in to pay the tax, they're going to pay you back all the money you invested and up to one of those high interest rates.
All right, Ted, who's allowed to do this? Do you have to qualify? Do you have to fill out an application, show your income?
Anybody can do this. Anybody that has money, there's nothing you have to do except buy the certificate, and then they're going to issue you a piece of paper that says, all right, you own this certificate, and here's how much money you're going to make with this certificate.
So no application.
No applications. The county issues a certificate, and nowadays you can do the whole thing on your computer sitting at your kitchen table.
So you're not buying the house. This is passive and no painting, no cleaning, just passive.
Half of the counties in the United States sell tax lien certificates. The other half are ruthless. They're going to confiscate the property if you don't pay the tax. Everybody knows if they don't pay the taxes, the government could take their property. But half of the states are very benevolent, and they sell these passive tax lien certificates. So if you buy the tax certificate, you don't have to worry about fixing the roof or cutting the grass. You don't have to chase anybody for a payment. You just pay the tax certificate, and then you sit on your rusty dusty and wait for the people to come in and pay the tax. I'll tell you right now, ahead of time, I've been doing this 30 years, 97%, 98% of those people come in and pay the tax. So you get all your money back plus one of those outrageous interest rates.
Does this have to be in my own county?
You can do it in any county you want. There's over 1,500 counties that sell tax lien certificate. So you can do it any county you want, and you can do it online. When I started 30 years ago, we had to drive to the county, but now you can do it online.
Some people never even leave their kitchen.
You can do this from your kitchen table on a laptop computer. Some people like to go down to the county and participate in the auction. They used to do all these live on the courthouse steps. Nowadays, they do it online, so you can buy tax lien certificates in any of the states. Half of the states sell tax lien certificates. The other half of the states, they take the property away from the property owner.
All right, Ted, I have to stop you here. I know my listeners, they've heard guaranteed before, and I'm using air quotes, and some of them have gotten burned. What's actually different here?
Okay, well, it's different, and here's why. This is a government-mandated program. It was created by the state that you live in, wherever you're listening to me. The state pushes the program down so the treasurer, the local people, can run the program. And what the local people do, if they can't collect the tax, they sell a tax lien certificate or they confiscate the property. All right. Now, most of the states where we're broadcasting this are states that sell tax lien certificates. That makes sense. So anybody that wants to buy a tax lien certificate in that state can do that. There's no brokers involved. There's no middlemen involved. You can't give money to me. The money goes directly to the county, and there's no middlemen involved in it. So your money is now protected. But understand, when it's guaranteed, I use the word mandated because in the investment business or the alternative investment business, you don't want to use that word guarantee because the federal government doesn't like people saying that. But this is mandated by the state how much money you'll get, and it's administered by the local county.
That's the whole difference?
It's a county-run program. It's been around for 200 years, and unfortunately, people don't know about it. And that's why I've taken the last 30 years to tell people about it. And now we're testing on radio to see if we can find audiences of adult people that have money that want a conservative investment.
So your money goes to the county and your check comes from the county.
Exactly. So you haven't given any money to Ted Thomas. So you don't have to worry about your money, okay? So now that once we buy that, that's the most unbelievable thing we're going to say. You give the money to the government, you get the money back from the government. It's been around a long time. This program's been going since we had the first president of the United States, over 200 years, just doing the same thing. Every county started in Virginia over 200 years ago.
All right, Ted, I'm getting excited. This is the part you can check yourself out, folks. Your own courthouse, not a website with a countdown clock on it.
That's exactly right, Jim. They could call the treasurer of the county. Let's say they were in Harris County and in Houston, Texas. And they call the treasurer, and the treasurer would tell them exactly right. And I'll explain that later on in this program, how it works in Harris County, so you know how to do it if you're listening in that county.
Okay, before we go one step further, I know some of you are already reaching for a pencil, so let's take care of you. Ted wrote the book on this, Your Startup Guide to Investing in Tax Lien Certificates and Tax Deeds. It's a real book. I've actually got the book. Ted sent one to me. Real chapters, plain English. It explains what a tax lien certificate is, what a tax defaulted property is, why the county has to have the money every year, and what the interest rates are mandated by the state. It covers the mistakes beginners make. Later this hour, Ted's going to walk through each mistake one by one. He promised.
Folks, it's not a brochure. It's an educational book. It's 8.5 by 11. It's got over 100 pages, and it'll take you about 2 hours to go through it. As you're going through it, you'll see illustrations of what we do. There's nothing that person that they only got to the 8th grade to be able to read this book. It's that easy.
The free book is designed to educate beginner investors who are interested in learning one of the safest investments in America today.
I promised my listeners that I'd be giving out Ted's number. Here it is. To get your free copy of Ted's book, call 767-8366. I'll be giving out the phone number again shortly. The book is absolutely free. When Ted answers, leave your name, your mailing address, and phone number, and Ted will mail the book directly to you. The book will be shipped via USPS. Priority mail with tracking.
So one more thing I'd like to, when we say tracking, we're going to call you and give you the tracking number so you'll know when it comes. If you're getting it far away from our office, it might take 4 or 5 days, but we'll give you a tracking number so you can check on it while it's headed your way.
Ted, if somebody reads the book and wants to try this, what does it actually take to get started?
Well, to get started, you're going to have to make a few phone calls, or you can do it all online if you wanted to. So let's say you did it all online. You could pull up the county website, and you could find the list of the certificates that are available. Once you found the list, you could choose one that you wanted to buy, and you're not going to buy one that costs $100,000. You're going to start small. Let's find one that only costs $500, because that's a good place to start. And you don't want to get into your nest egg because you've never done this before. Let's learn by investing $500. You want to invest the $500 right with your local county. You learn to swim on the shallow end of the pool. Let's start out with $500. It's teaching you the system. You learn how to do it. You're going to see your money safe and secure. You'll see that 97, maybe 98% of the people come in and pay right away. If they come in and pay, then you get paid and you make interest and you get it from the county.
What happens if the homeowner never pays their property tax?
Well, that's a big worry. Everybody said, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? Well, what happens is when you bought the certificate, you just paid for the county's position in the property. The county actually can take over a property if no taxes are paid. So the tax certificate is secured. What do I mean secured? The tax certificate is secured by the property. So if you don't get paid, you would get the property. You'll want the property because it would be rare that the property wouldn't be worth a lot more than that tax certificate, because taxes are only 1% of property.
The property becomes yours for only the back taxes you paid. That's incredible.
So that's another big surprise. You were surprised before that you didn't give money to a middleman or something like that. Now it's going to get better, because now if you didn't get paid, you're going to get the property. Now, I don't want you to think that this is about buying property. This is about buying tax lien certificates. If I were teaching the same course in a state that sold property, I'd teach you how to do that. But this is about buying tax lien certificates. Okay, so you're going to be rewarded by earning interest on your money, or if they didn't pay you, you'll get rewarded by owning the property. I didn't make these rules. These rules have been in effect for over 200 years, and it's right under your nose. It's been going on in your county since the day it became a county.
So the tax lien certificate is backed by the property.
Exactly. So you don't get paid, you get the property.
Now, some of my listeners, Ted, are already thinking, Jim, I don't want a stranger's house.
Can you blame them? But what we're going to teach you to do is, if you didn't want that house, it's okay. You bought it at such a cheap price that you could sell it, because taxes are only 1 or 2% of the value. So the house is probably worth thousands of dollars, or maybe it's a residential lot, but you now would be the owner of that house. You could sell it. You could call up Zillow, or you could call up a real estate broker and sell it. It wouldn't be difficult to sell it because you own it for such a low price. And when you own it, it won't have any mortgage on it.
And the other kind?
Well, the other kind is simply this. You're going to get the property, so you'd go about selling it. There's two kinds of people. One person wants to earn interest. Okay, that's viable. The other person wants to buy the property. All right, so we're going to teach you how to buy. To get started, we're going to teach you how to make interest. Later on, before we finish this hour we're going to be together, I'm going to show you examples of both actual people that are well over 50 years old doing exactly what we're talking about today, so that you know how real this is.
Ted, hold on a second. If there's a mortgage on that house, which is quite likely, where am I standing in line as a lien holder? Behind the bank?
Actually, everybody worries about the liens on the property, and that's what you should worry about. So you're wise when you ask that question. No, the tax lien is always the first lien on the property. Before there was ever a property there was a tax on that empty lot. And that's the first lien on the property. That lien is the county lien. That lien is ahead of the IRS, the head of a bank, the head of any judgment or lien that was on the property. Now you have the number one position on that property, and you could wipe out the mortgage. With exceptions like there could be a lien on the property from a federal government. It's an IRS lien. We can show you how to buy without IRS liens on it. Those liens could stay on the property, but you're going to buy a property without liens that are going to keep you from selling the property.
That's the sentence that made me sit up when I read the book, folks. The taxes come first. The tax lien is always the first priority lien.
That's right. Okay, so I know if you're listening, you're a little nervous about that, but I've taught this for 30 years, and I'm going to show you actual examples. Matter of fact, why don't we just stop and we'll do it right now, because I understand a person would be concerned. So what I did when I was making infomercials for television, I asked an attorney to come on, and I'm going to let you listen to him tell you about that right now. He's going to tell you how this program is set up by the government and how you buy properties the way we just talked about.
This would work for you too.
The producers of this show said this sounds almost too good to be true, and they wanted to get an outside opinion from an attorney. So we contacted real estate expert, attorney, and the author of the New York Times bestseller, How Come That Idiot's Rich and I'm Not? Welcome now, Robert Sheeman. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Lynn, it's a pleasure to be here with you.
Now, Robert, Ted Thomas has been telling us about tax certificate investing and how it is a government-backed program and totally legal. And we wanted to verify with an outside legal and real estate expert like yourselves that what Ted is saying is true.
Well, it's not only for real, and it's not only absolutely true, but it's legal and it's statutory. It's not just out there as some investment. This is backed, approved, and written by state governments. This is how the governments collect their tax money when people don't pay their property taxes.
So is it safe to say that this is not a far-fetched get-rich-quick scheme and that tax certificates are a predictable, certain, and secure investment that is government-sponsored and backed up by property tax laws in each state?
That's right. They occur everywhere, wherever there's a property tax to be collected. They're legal, they work, the returns can be absolutely fantastic, and this is all for real.
Robert, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today and sharing your expertise.
Let me make sure I have the picture. If I have it, my listeners have it. The county must collect property taxes every year. When an owner doesn't pay, the county sells a certificate at auction. I buy the certificate, my money pays that tax bill, I receive a tax lien certificate, and then one of two things happen. The delinquent owner pays the taxes, or the defaulting owner never pays and the property becomes mine. My money went to the county, never to Ted Thomas.
Nice, you've got it nailed down. So anybody that heard what you just said, now you understand. We're doing this quickly on the radio, but in the book, it walks you through it and shows you step by step. So you certainly have the idea. All right, so now the people need to get their pencil out and write the phone number down.
The free book is a guide to how to earn tax lien certificates and earning 16, 18, and 24%. It's also dedicated to teaching tax defaulted property auctions where real estate is auctioned with starting bids of only 20 and 25 cents on the dollar. These properties are auctioned with no mortgage or deed of trust loan.
To get your free copy of Ted's book, call 877-767-8366. The book is absolutely free. 877-767-8366. Leave your name, mailing address, and phone number, and Ted will mail the book directly to you. The book will be shipped USPS Priority Mail with tracking. I'm Jim Clouk, and my guest for the full hour is Ted Thomas. By state law, every county must collect property taxes. When the property owner doesn't pay, the county sells at auction a tax lien certificate. You buy direct from the county. Your money pays someone else's delinquent tax bill, and by state law, you either get paid back all the money you invested plus interest, or the property becomes yours. There's no middleman or brokers involved. Your investment money goes directly to the county, not to Ted, not anywhere else, just to the county. His free book explains all of it. Ted, who actually does this? Paint me the picture of your students.
A lot of people actually do this, and most of the people are senior citizens. I'm going to give you a picture of some of these students, and you can see more than one of them.
This is perfect for beginners.
I've chosen this as my retirement investment venue. I'm tired of watching stock portfolios and mutual funds go up and down and up and down. So I got online and looked in a lot of different counties to see who paid the highest interest rate, who had the easiest system to actually buy certificates. So I've found this amazing vehicle through Ted's system where you can buy something that's very high return, 18% in my case, and higher, 36% in some cases. The first tax liens I bought 3 of them for $2,273. I wanted to try it, just see if it was something that was safe and would pay off. I got those certificates in the mail, put them in my drawer, and waited. Next thing I know, months later, I got a check in the mail for $3,159. That was an 18% annual return on my money. It's an amazing world that's opened up to me with this system. And the main thing is I've taken control of it and I found something very safe with a high return. And I'm going to have enough money for retirement now. I feel confident about it.
So you just saw Piggy Palms, and now I think we'll just go to another one and show you another person doing the same thing. A short intermission here. And I'd like you to notice that this woman bought multiple certificates and she earned different rates of return. So let's listen to Marilyn Martin.
Stocks are volatile. I've lost money in them before. With Ted's program, it's an online program. You buy everything online. I got 48, averaging 9%. Some of them are earning 18%. It's an awesome program. It's a safe, secure way to earn a whole lot better interest rate than the banks are giving you at a half or a 1%. The little guy can do it. You can have a couple of $1,000s and invest. Most of the liens that I purchased were a couple $100, under $1,000. It's a secure program. I wish I had known this years ago.
In my opinion, tax lien certificates are one of the safest investments in America today because the money is protected by the property tax code in each county. The interest rates which you will be paid are mandated by the legislature of the state which is selling or auctioning the tax lien certificate. This is a safe haven.
Here's one for my mailbag. I've got listeners in their 70s saying, Jim, I'm no computer whiz. Am I out?
Definitely you're not out. You're going to find in this program that we're going to show you first that you can do it on the computer, but that's not a requirement. Every county has a clerk, so they could go to the county to do it. We're going to show you people that are 50 to 85 years old buying tax lien certificates from their local county and how the counties care to this part of the business because these people want to make money and they want to make it in a safe, secure environment. When you go to the county records, the clerks are more than happy to help you out. If you send them an email, they'll answer those, so you can do it online. Most of my students are older people. I say they're 45 to 105.
Tell me what it looked like when you started, Ted, before the internet.
Okay, well, you're right. In the old days, it was easy, but the market was so restricted, only local people, local to the county, could do it. But that, I mean, every county has a county office. They might have a couple of county offices. So we would go to that office and would say, we'd like to buy some tax lien certificates. And they would give us a list. Now you can just type on your computer and they'll show you the list. Then you can pick out any that you want to buy. For example, if you only had $500, you could start with that. But what if you had $25,000 you want to invest? You could put 5 in this one, 7 in that one, whatever, until you had your $25,000 invested. Now they'll all pay back at different times because people will pay their interest at different. They'll pay their tax certificate at different times. Now it's much easier. You can sit at your kitchen table, and we have classes. We teach people to do it. You can't give money to me. You have to give it to the county. You'll go to your bank, and the banker will give them your information, and the bank and the county will do business together. It's as simple as that. You control your money at the bank, and then it goes to the county. And when they pay back, they pay right back to your bank. They'll send you a text and say, we just deposited money in your account. The old days, I had to take my certificate back to the county, and then they would write me a check. But now it's so much easier. It's half the work, and anybody can do it.
So they hand you something at the tax office?
Actually, they do. They hand you a piece of paper, a document, and it just says tax certificate on it, has your name, has the interest rate on it, and has the address of the property. This is a passive investment, so you're never going to go near the property. You'll never talk to the property owner, ever. You only do business directly with the county and the staff that works for the treasurer.
How long did it take to start and finish this?
It depends upon when the people pay their tax. If you paid and bought a certificate today, if that person lets the certificate go for the whole 6 months or year, then that's when you're going to get paid. You won't get any money until they come in and pay. But in some cases, people come in and pay very quickly, so you're going to get paid very quickly. That's why we recommend people, once you learn it, you'll do multiple certificates. You won't just buy one, because you'll have to wait for the next auction before you can buy another one. So people buy multiples. Most people, once they learn it, they'll do 5 or 10 certificates every time they go to the auction.
The waiting is the job.
You actually just sit on your rusty dusty. It's passive investment. There's no work for you to do except to do your research before you buy. You don't want to buy a property that's a bad or damaged property, and we can show you how to online check where the property is. If you're buying in your local community, you know what the different areas are. But if you decided you were in Florida and you wanted to buy in South Carolina, then you'd probably want to go online and research with Google and know what the property was, or drive up there, tax-deductible vacation, and take a look at South Carolina and look at the ones you want to buy.
Now the money question, and be straight with me, Ted. Is $500 really enough to start? Because that number sounds almost too small to be realistic.
$500 is really too small. It's not enough, but if we take $500 and let's say you bought one in Florida and it earned 18% and it stayed out for the whole year, at the end of the year, you're actually only going to make a very small amount of money, okay? On $500, 18%, it's going to be about $90, okay? So you made $90, but it shows you that it works. So like I said earlier, you learn to swim on the shallow end of the pool. Let's get used to the water, and then you can do it. There's no hurry. This business has been around for 200 years. Once you learn this, you can do this forever.
So why bother? It seems so small, $90.
There's two sides to the business, but the cheapest tuition is to start with tax lien certificates. So we start you at the shallow end of the pool, but there's another end to the pool, and that's the deeper end, all right? And now that end of the pool, that's where they're going to sell tax defaulted property. That means you're actually going to get property, but there are people that don't want the property. We talked about that earlier. So a good place to start is with the tax lien certificates, and it's kind of a boring business, but it's pretty darn easy. But I'll talk before we finish on how to buy tax defaulted property also as part of what we're doing on this 1-hour radio show.
Ted, let's do 1 minute on you, the short version. Who am I sitting with today?
Okay, I've been doing this for more than 30 years. I started investing in this 30 years ago, and I've just never stopped. And why I never stopped is because it's a business of abundance. This has been going on for over 200 years. It's right under your nose in every single county. So all the people that work with me are excited about it once they learn how to do it. I got in the business because I came from a family that didn't have a lot of money. My parents died poor. They didn't have a good retirement because nobody told them what we're learning about today. Yet this is a public program. It's anybody that can afford to buy the certificates can buy them. But nobody ever told them anything like what's running today.
Why not?
It's amazing the banks don't tell people about this, but the banks are the biggest investors in tax lien certificates, that and hedge funds. It's because it's safe and secure. But a banker isn't going to refer you to buying tax lien certificates because they can't earn a commission on it. A stockbroker isn't going to tell you about this investment unless they could get a commission. So the counties, when they sell these investments were made for the little guy, for you and I that want to go down and make money in our local community. So these tax lien certificates pay no commissions. So people don't tell you about it. Real estate brokers, they know about this, but they don't tell anybody because they want to make a house commission. All right. The bankers don't tell anybody about it. There's no commissions on it. So that's why people don't know about it. And when they don't know about it, they don't invest in it. Fortunately, Jim asked me to come on his program, and I'm telling you about it. This is real. The more you hear today, the more you'll like what we're talking about it.
And Ted, you're still at this yourself?
That's right. And I'm 87 years old in September, and I've been involved as an investor in tax defaulted property for over 30 years' time.
Ted, give my listeners a sense of scale, because I think some people picture 3 houses a year in some dusty corner of the country.
Okay, the tax lien certificate and tax defaulted business, there's going to be more than 5,000 auctions this year. That's 100 a week, okay? Every county will either sell tax lien certificates or tax lien certificates and tax defaulted product. Every county in the United States has to do this because people pass away and they don't have heirs. And what are they going to do with the property? Just let it sit there and deteriorate? No. The taxes don't get paid, so the county sends a tax notice out. If they don't pay it, the county confiscates it and resells the property. Or the county starts it out with a tax lien certificate. If nobody pays that, it'll end up getting confiscated. So the county has to move these properties out. Otherwise, properties all over the United States will be deteriorating. This is a huge business, multi-billions. And let me give you one final example. Just in Florida alone, in the month of May, they will sell 1 million tax lien certificates, which you could be taking advantage of. Now, each county in the state sells those. There's 67 counties here. So it doesn't matter which state that you get involved in, there's either tax lien certificates available or tax defaulted property available, or both.
100 a week?
There's 100 auctions every week. It's actually more than that. That's a conservative number. There's no less than 5,000 auctions every year. It's a business of abundance. They're never going to run out. And because people don't know about this, there's always some left over. We teach people how to buy the leftovers, but today we're going to teach you how to do it first. And later on, when you become a client, we'll show you how to buy the leftovers too. And they're even better buys than the one we're teaching you right now.
Now, Ted, what I don't understand, if the interest is that good, why doesn't the county just keep it for itself?
Well, the county has a problem. The reason the county doesn't keep the interest is the county needs money now to pay the bills. The firefighters get paid now. The police department get paid now. The treasurer has to keep money in the treasury to pay the county bills and the employees. So the county passes it on to you by making a tax lien certificate. This is not an unusual way to do it. Every government in the United States does it. The federal government borrows money, state governments borrow money, and now what the local county does is they borrow money from you. And you're the lender because you paid the tax lien certificate. They make sure that your money is secure because it's secured by the property.
The state legislature authorizes the county treasurer to invite the public to auctions where they can earn high interest rates. It's that simple.
They pay outrageous interest rate. Where are you going to make up to 16% like they do in Arizona, or up to 18% like they do in Florida? Or how about if you went to Iowa, you can earn 24%. So the county has a budget, and they have to figure out what their budget is every year so they can pay their bills. So they have to sell these defaulted properties because the defaulted properties are contributing nothing to the county. If they don't get rid of those defaulted properties, they're going to deteriorate. And then who's going to pay to clean that mess up? The county's going to have to pay for that.
Ted, that's the cleanest explanation I've ever heard.
Thank you. Okay. I want to show you another person that's in the process of buying these properties. Okay. We're learning a little bit more about the different ways of doing this. Listen to this short summary of how well they did.
These are ordinary people.
I bought 27 lots at a tax certificate sale, plus the 5 townhouses, all in one subdivision here for $6,900. All I did was pay back taxes, and I turned around and got 18% of my money, which was $1,890. Where am I going to make $1,890 doing absolutely nothing? I bought it online at a tax sale. I put home, threw it in my drawer, and a year and a half later, here's a check in the mail. Hello, I won.
My name is Robert Kagan, but everybody calls me Sonny. And this is my wife, Marcia. In September, we took the Ted Thomas classes. In November, we won the Fraser Street house. December, we accepted an offer already. January, we closed on it. It's amazing about the signs. You know, we didn't even think anything about this sign stuff. And it was brought to our attention by Ted that, you know, this is a surefire way to get people's attention. And he's absolutely right.
So the total for just the profit part, not our investment, but the total profit part is $39,438.
Ted, what's the right way to start small?
Well, I learned from a guy by the name of Warren Buffett. He said, get educated. So I would say, get yourself educated, which we're doing now, and get the book. Then the next step would be pick one county and read the book, and then everything else is going to be free. After you get the book, it's going to be free because you can get the rules, you can get the list, and now you can start going to auctions if you want to. And then when you're ready, buy a small certificate. Buy a certificate and pay the county and wait for it to get paid. Okay? All right. So it's not something you have to go, take the money that you've been saving for retirement or whatever it is, take a small part of the investment money, get a book, learn a little bit about it, and go through this step-by-step process. Who else would teach you how to do it? And everything's free.
Ted, what surprises your students most once they get one of these deals done?
The big surprise is how easy this is. You see, this was all created 200 years ago, and there was a ton of people that couldn't even read and write. So they had to make it easy, okay? You don't have a broker's statement every month that you got to read. You don't have to do any homework. You don't have to do a lot of work with a certificate. All you have to do is go make sure the property's there. So it's going to be pretty boring business. It's not going to be one that's going to get you excited. But when you get your checks, you'll get excited.
The free book is designed to educate beginner investors who are interested in eliminating one of the safest investments from their local county.
To get your free copy of Ted Thomas's book, call 877-767-8366. Again, 877-767-8366. The book is absolutely free. When you call, leave your full name, mailing address, and phone number, and Ted will mail the book directly to you. The book will be shipped via USPS Priority Mail with tracking. Leave your name, mailing address, and phone number, and Ted will mail the book directly to you. The book will be shipped USPS Priority Mail with tracking. Now, Ted, you promised my listeners inside secrets to avoid mistakes, and I'm here to collect. How do people lose money doing this?
You're holding my feet in the fire. All right. Number one, people bid on property they never look at. You wouldn't marry the man if you never saw him. So don't do that. You want to look at what you're going to buy. Every property has a number on it, just like you have a street address. These properties, you can look at them. You wouldn't marry someone you hadn't met. So look at the property, and you want to look for environmental things too. The county usually handles that. If there's any environmental problems, if there was a gas station there, don't buy the tax lien certificate because there's probably some oil tanks in the ground, and we don't want to buy anything that has a possibility of contamination. The point is, this is an easy investment because you can look and see what the problem might be.
Even for a certificate?
You're buying a certificate. However, if the certificate doesn't redeem, if the people didn't come in and pay you, then you're going to end up with the property. And so you don't want an old gas station. But if it was a nice house in the country club, you do want that. So my rule for people is if you can afford it, buy all your tax liens on those fancy houses in the country club. Because if they don't pay, you're going to get a fancy house in the country club. Don't laugh. I've seen it happen.
Look before you buy. Number two?
Well, lazy investors don't learn the rules. Every state makes their own rules. If you live in Texas, they have different rules than Louisiana. And the people in North Dakota, they're different from the California people. So they have their own rules. So what you do is you want to make sure you read the rules. Now, all the rules are easy because you can go click with your computer, get the county you're going to buy, go to the county you're going to buy in, and all the rules are there. Read them. If they tell you have to pay on a certain day, well, then you have to pay a certain day. If they tell you have to fill out certain documents, you have to fill out certain documents. They don't tell you what to pay. They don't tell you what to bid. All this is on the county website. There's no charge for the rules. Everything is free at the county website. Okay. The people that guess are the ones that get in trouble. So you don't want to do any guessing. So read them before you spend money. It's like I'm saying, I'm going to give you a free book. Read the book before you do this. Don't just go do it and then be embarrassed that you made a mistake. Read the book. We want to make sure you stay out of trouble.
Number three?
Everybody thinks everything's going to be a bargain because it's an auction. Okay. The auction pricing starts with the back taxes. So what you're doing is you're paying someone's back taxes. So if the taxes were high, that probably means there's a number of years they didn't pay it, but it might be a very valuable property. If the property taxes were very low, that could mean that the property isn't worth very much. You want to say to yourself, if this is really so cheap, I can get in. Well, you can, but you want to make sure that you're not buying any junkers. Don't buy a junker because you don't want to have to fix it up.
Define used and abused.
Used and abused is how I refer to property all the time. Tax defaulted properties are always going to be used and abused. If they didn't pay the taxes, they probably didn't fix the roof that's starting to wear out, or they probably didn't rebuild that kitchen, so the kitchen might be very old. Okay, if the property's near a swamp or someplace where the neighborhood is not too good, don't buy those. You want to make sure that you buy properties that are reasonable, like the neighborhood you live in.
We control our own destiny as an investor.
100%. We control everything we do. You buy, and now you have an exit strategy. So what's exit strategy mean? Exit strategy with a tax certificate is the county handles all that. You just wait to get a check. But what if you decide to buy a tax defaulted property? If you decided you want a tax defaulted property, you're going to have to sell it. So that's easy enough. Hire a broker to do it, or hire Zillow to do it, or put it on Facebook Marketplace. Don't buy a certificate or buy a property unless you know how much money you're going to make on it.
Ted, you know what strikes me about this list? None of it is hidden. It's discipline.
The county runs the program. It's mandated by the state. The county just administers it. So it's hard to make a mistake, but people make mistakes. And that's why I got in business, because I started writing books about it, started taking people to auctions. It's kind of boring. You spend most of your time waiting.
And 5?
Number 5, that's where you have to have patience. Okay, if you're a careful investor, you don't have a worry in the world. So don't expect this to be a get rich quick. You're not going to get wealthy by this coming Friday. You're going to buy a certificate, and then you have to wait. You got to wait for the apples to mature. And the weeks go by, the months go by, and then it's time for the people to pay. If they don't pay you within the time stipulated in the certificate, you're going to get the property.
How long is the wait, honestly?
I've seen it in Phoenix where certificates could last up to 3 years. People didn't get paid for 3 years, but all that money was accruing for the first year, the second year, and the third year. Okay, I've seen them get paid off in 60 days, and they got all the money back right away.
Let me push one more time, because my listeners are like me. When something sounds too good to be true, we ask, what's the catch, Ted?
Okay, the catch is that you don't know about it. That's really the catch. The interest rates are mandated by law, but nobody hands you a certificate. You have to read the list and choose. You have to check the property, and sometimes you have to research more than one property to find the one you want.
So the catch is effort.
Effort and patience. And remember what I told you to start. You never give money to Ted Thomas. That's me, okay? Your money goes to the county. Your check comes from the county. This is a predictable, certain, and secure investment.
Still the rule.
Follow the rules. If the homework bothers you, don't start. The county doesn't need you to hurry, and neither do I.
The question I ask every honest guest, who should not do this?
If you're a gambler, you don't want to do this. If you're gambling that this is going to be your retirement, I wouldn't do anything like that. Follow the rules and bid to win a bargain property, or bid so that your tax lien certificate, so that you can make money on it. You never know if the rules are going to change later in life. I'd just be a conservative investor, and that's exactly what this is. This doesn't work for get-rich people or gamblers, because they always do something that's outside the rules. So just follow the rules.
Like you, Ted, I wouldn't marry the woman unless I had a chance to see her.
Yeah, I agree with that. Anybody who needs money, they should wait till next month or wait till next auction. There's no hurry.
What's the most common first mistake you actually see at an auction?
I would say most people try to bid to win the auction. If you're buying a property, they're trying to win the auction, so they might keep bidding higher and higher. As you bid higher, you're getting close to the value of the property. The idea is only buy what you know is going to be a bargain.
The auction is the exam, and the homework happens the week before.
If you don't do your homework, you're making a big mistake. The biggest mistake you could make was not looking and seeing what that property was. Second biggest mistake would be if you went to see what the property was, why wouldn't you figure out what all the prices in the neighborhood are? If you know the price in the neighborhood, you'll never bid too high.
Earlier, you mentioned tax defaulted property. Some of my listeners have more money than patience. What's the next level here?
The next level is something that I showed you earlier, the older couple, and they bought a property in Michigan, and they did quite well. I'm going to show you others in the next few minutes. But the county, in all states, the county, if nobody buys the tax lien, the county has a problem. So what they do is they confiscate the property, and then they sell it for just the back taxes. Now, the back taxes generally on property are 1 or 2% of the value. They're going to sell the property. This is hard to believe, but it's going to happen. The auction starts at back taxes, 10 or 20 cents on the dollar. This is not hype. I'm telling you the real world. You can go to those auctions and see it start at 10 or 20 cents. People find out about this. They find out that the properties are starting at 20 cents on the dollar. If you could buy one, I know you want to buy one today. We can teach you to buy one today, but it's not going to stay at 20 cents. The auction is going to go up. If you have people that aren't trained, they might bid it too high. The auction starts at 20%. So you want to be able to buy that property at a price where you could resell it and make money. You buy a deed to that property, and the owner has a certain amount of time, like in Texas, to redeem it. The owner lost their property temporarily. They could come back and pay you after 6 months. If they come back after 6 months and pay you, they give you back all your money, and now they have to give you a 25% return. 25% in 6 months. There is nowhere you can earn that kind of money.
25% in what period of time, Ted?
In 6 months. In Texas, it's the law. If they redeem the deed, they own it, but they have to pay you whatever you paid plus 25%. If they don't redeem the deed, you own the property at the end of 6 months. I'm only talking about Texas now. In 1 minute in Texas, if the delinquent property owner fails to pay the taxes, you can purchase a redeemable deed and wait 180 days. If you haven't been paid your money back in the 180 days, that means the owner redeemed. If they did redeem, you will earn 25% return and all your money back. If they don't redeem, at the end of 180 days, you own the property.
So why isn't this whole show about houses for dimes?
Well, it would be, but we have to teach people to start. So we start out by teaching tax lien certificates. Okay, that's the easiest way. It's the safest way. But if you're going to buy property, that's the most profitable way. We teach you both ways. So we teach you to start with. But deeds take capital, and they take more homework, because now you've got to go see, is this property really as valuable? You're going to end up owning it. You go to a tax deed auction, you're going to own the property. If you go to a tax lien certificate auction, you're going to own a piece of paper. You have a choice. The book is going to teach you both.
The free book is a guide to help you learn and earn up to 16%, 18%, even 24%.
To get your free copy of Ted Thomas's book, call 877-767-8366. The book is free. Leave your name, mailing address, and phone number, and Ted will mail the book directly to you. The book will be shipped via USPS priority mail with tracking. Again, the phone number, 877-767-8366. Ted, walk me through somebody's first 90 days, step by step, starting the night the book arrives.
Okay. Well, open the book up and read it. It's going to take a couple hours to read it. Then pick one county. Yours is fine. Or you can go to another county. It's up to you. Get the rules. Read them. All right. Now, if you've done that, you know more than most people at most auctions.
Then
I want you to watch the actions. Go to an auction and watch an auction. Okay, that costs you nothing. Or you can do it online. If you go to my website, you can watch that. Okay. All right. Watch what the untrained people do and watch what trained people do. You'll learn from both of them.
And then the first certificate?
So now you're going to get a certificate you only spent $500 for. Okay, you buy that certificate. All right. Then you just hold that certificate. So with a tax lien certificate, you're now playing a waiting game. You just take that certificate home, put it on your desk, sit on it. You don't have anything to do until the county does everything. Remember, it's a passive investment.
And then you wait.
And then you wait. And it takes patience because you're waiting some time to get money. This is a safe business. The county tells you when the owner pays. When they do that, they're going to call you and say, bring your certificate in. Nowadays, they do it a little quicker. So nowadays, they're going to call you and say, your certificate paid off. The money's going to come to you. Do you want to put in your bank account? They'll put the money right in your bank account.
Ted, this is exciting. That first check must feel strange.
It's so exciting that the next day people are calling me and saying, I want to know about more auctions, because now they're going to be doing much bigger than that. Or what else they'll decide they want to learn more about these tax defaulted properties where they can actually buy a property for a starting bid of 20 cents, but maybe they could buy for 30 or 40 cents on the dollar, and then they know they're going to make big money.
Ted, how can you help our listeners along the way in this journey?
Okay, well, the fastest way is just start out with the book because it's free, it's cheap, and you can get started. But later on, we have classes, we have training programs for those people that are interested in it. But just the book is a good enough place to get started.
The free book designed to educate beginners who are interested in learning one of the safest investments in America today.
Book first, everything else later. Here's how you get it. To get your free copy of Ted Thomas's book, call 877-767-8366. The book is absolutely free. Again, 877-767-8366. Leave your name, your mailing address, and phone number, and Ted will mail the book directly to you. Absolutely free. The book will be shipped via USPS Priority Mail with tracking.
Jim, I'm going to close with a young couple. They were both working and they were both bored, and they came to me and they wanted to learn a business where they could travel. And so they came to me and said, Ted, you talk about tax liens and tax deeds all over the country. Show us how to do it. So I showed them how to do it. They finished their training. They bought their first property, but they made themselves quite a bit of money. But more importantly than that, they both now could take a leave of absence from the work they had, which they wanted to continue with, but they wanted to travel while they were young enough to enjoy it. They came and they made money, and I'm going to show you that, but they bought themselves a huge motor home, and they went traveling in that. So let me show you that, and then I'll come back and tell you how much money there.
This could work for you. $39,000 would pay a lot of bills around your house and leave you a lot of money for the next investment.
We did not know anything about tax foreclosure sales in depth. We knew they existed, but we didn't know what we could do and how easy it was to go with the program.
We didn't know that it was possible because when we heard, we thought it was too good to be true to buy homes for back taxes. Once we found out that was true, we bought a 45-foot coach and decided to retire from our jobs and get out of the rat race and go make some money and live a different lifestyle, live free. So that's why we're doing tax deeds.
And with this, we can get on our bus, travel over the country, find those tax liens and deeds, and have a great time doing it.
We started buying in this house. We bought 20 cents on the dollar, and we're going to profit over $39,000 when we sell this one.
Well, folks, she said they're going to make $39,000 on their first deal. Folks, $39,000 will pay all the bills around my house. I'm sure they'll pay all the bill around your house. Probably put a little money into your savings account. That's how well you could do on this. And they're off to the Rocky Mountains in Colorado, and then they plan to go to the Rocky Mountains in Canada. More importantly, their last name was Martinez, and they all have Spanish history. They're going to spend their winter on the beaches in Mexico. So get the free book, and we'll look forward to seeing you in the future.
The information, opinions, and statements expressed by guests on this program are solely those of the guest and do not necessarily reflect the views of the host, Check-A-Pro, this station, its management, affiliates, sponsors, or advertisers. This program is intended for general informational and educational purposes only. Results may vary.